I would like to introduce to you our speaker. Her name is Jamie Burhani, Cairo. Jamie and I have been working together for the past 16 years at the Aurora Cancer Center. She is our nurse practitioner, who I adore. She works on Wednesdays, meaning because she has another role. She's the director of program development for the Cancer Center, and has really brought us up to a very high level of being able to help patients. And one of those things that she does is help our patients with art therapy by having our therapists come to our clinic and work with our patients, and it's just been amazing. So at this time, Jamie, if you'd like to come up and tell them specifically about how you do that for us.
Yes, I will. Thank you,
you.
Linda. Well, thank you for having me here today. I love to talk about art therapy. I brought a book with some pictures that I will reference, but in case you don't know what art therapy is, it's not just people sitting and coloring and feeling relaxed, that's part of it, but our art therapists are actually master's prepared, licensed psychosocial counselors, and they use art as their medium to connect with patients. And so I first became acquainted with art therapy at our cancer center. We had a very part-time, we still have a part-time art therapist. We'd love to have her there more. I love to watch what she does with patients. She herself, and she by admission would allow me to say that she's a very quirky individual, but she just has this way of sort of meshing with people, even if they say they don't feel comfortable doing, art. She's like, well, we don't have to talk about that. She'll start to kind of, sit down next to them. Linda's seen this many times. And then pretty soon, some sort of an art, some pens will come out, and she'll just start drawing. And pretty soon people are drawing, and then they're doing these major projects. And what she can do with people who are anxious and upset, or even just trying to deal and cope with their diagnosis is pretty phenomenal. And I actually have a picture of her in here. During COVID, of course, we couldn't, all of the non-essential people who weren't doing direct patient care were not allowed to come into the clinic. But she connected with people in a way. She would talk to them on the phone. Here she is outside of a window doing art therapy with one of our patients. I mean, it was amazing. And then the other thing that she's done, and I have this picture in here that I'll pass around, is she'll actually do art shows with people. This is a very young woman who had metastatic breast cancer, and she actually did a full show with this young woman. This young lady had never done any art. She didn't know that she could do, paint and things like that. And once Lori tapped into that, it was all go. And so we actually had this art show in our waiting room. So she's become an important part of our cancer clinic. But now I'm going to tell you about my own personal story with this. I became very interested in art therapy when my brother, John Burhani, was diagnosed with cancer. So I think some of you do know John. He was a local artist, but also a local sailor, kite surfer, windsurfer. If you've lived in Kenosha for any amount of time and you used to drive by the lake and see some guy out, windsurfing in February, that was my brother, passionate about water and all things water and lake. And a lot of his artwork for many years was very centered on boats and art, the water. When we were kids, he absolutely loved the lighthouse. We used to play down by the lake, and he would often say, I'm going to live in there someday. Well, in 2010, I believe, the Army Corps of Engineers actually started selling off lighthouses to citizens. And he thought it was funny at the time, and he put a bid on it. I don't think he thought he would get it, but they accepted his offer, and he actually bought the big red lighthouse on Lake Michigan. And his intention was to turn it into an art studio. And he kind of started to do that work, but unfortunately, shortly after he bought the lighthouse, he was diagnosed with a very rare and aggressive form of lymphoma. And from that point forward, had to go through chemotherapy, bone marrow transplant, more chemotherapy, radiation. His life was really turned upside down. And so he became extremely prolific with his artwork. But a lot of what he was doing changed. He started to do some self-portraits. And as he was sick, here's one where he actually had the lymphoma was affecting his eye, and he really couldn't see very well, but he did this painting while he was going through treatment. And, you know, he would almost kind of put you off and say, I'm working on this. This is really important for me. This one, he looks very angry in it, and I said to him, what's that all about? I'm like, what, you look so angry. He said, that's how I feel. So after he passed away, I'm like, oh my gosh, he was doing his own art therapy, and it just became a very personal thing for me. So me and my sister-in-law and my niece, we started a fund to support art therapy at our cancer center and to take our wonderful art therapist and make, you know, help to get her supplies, but also to pay her for her volunteer time. So now she's a paid employee. And like I said, it's wonderful for me to be able to support that, but also see that work with my patients and see the work that she does with our patients. So this is a picture of my brother and his daughter the day they bought the lighthouse. I love this picture. It was a very, very happy time. And again, with this, you can see some of the artwork that he did, his sailing right here. I heard you talk about sailing with my brother and his buddies. So I'd love to pass this around and show it to you, and I really thank you for inviting me and hearing a little bit about our art therapy program, where we're just passionate about it. And thank you to Linda. I'm very grateful to work with you too. You are an amazing nurse, and you are a huge supporter of this. You see what it does for your patients, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Have any questions?
Oh yes, questions.
Does your brother still
My brother.
own part of?
My
or
brother
family?
actually passed away. I should have put that. It said that he passed away in 2015.
Family still own the
They
lighthouse?
still own the lighthouse, and my sister-in-law has actually done some creative things with that over the years. She actually had an artist in residence program for a couple of summers.
My friend Jerica was there.
Yes, yes.
painted
And I
that,
don't know if you remember, they did a thing where they had like these, the flowers. Do you? Oh my gosh. That was incredible.
And we just did with the thing on Facebook, the Kenosha local photographers.
Yes, yes.
Just
to
did a
get that-
calendar and raised
to
money
get
for
that
the lighthouse.
painted.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law also had breast cancer this past year, so you know the lighthouse needed a little sprucing up, and she just sort of put that out there, and the community really rallied around that, and they got that painted, because that's not an easy thing to paint. It's so funny because years ago my brother actually, when he first purchased it, he had a contest to see if he should repaint it. People just freaked out because he was talking about doing, you know, black and white or red and white, and everybody's like, no, that's our, you gotta leave big red red, so it'll always be red. It'll always be red, yeah.
And Jamie, to circle back to what the program you developed has done for our patients, it's just amazing. People who feel hopeless or feel like, okay, now my whole life has changed. Who am I in this life? I mean, I get to sit here and be almost, literally poisoned. I'm sitting here accepting this because I have no choice. And then Lori comes along and sits with these patients, and they just develop this new sense and this new talent and appreciation that helps them get through that. It makes them feel more comfortable. It makes them feel more in charge or in control of some of the things they can do. And I can't tell you how many times she's actually rescued some of the nurses from emotional situations that she came in and worked her magic and was able to get that patient to a place of feeling safe or, you know, better about what's going on much quicker than we could without her. So it's amazing.
It really is. One of my favorite things that she did years ago, we had an older gentleman who was at the end of his life going through cancer treatment, and for some reason he decided that he wanted to make a quilt with dogs on it. And I cannot tell you what she did. He didn't know how to do quilting. I don't think quilting is particularly her thing either, but they made this quilt with dogs on it, and that was something that his family could have, and it was just so special. She does those kinds of things all the time.
Yeah,
So
often.
we have other art therapists in some of our other cancer centers across Wisconsin, so whatever we can do to keep pushing that forward is something we want to keep doing.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for the time that you spend raising money to keep that going for these patients.
It's my
as
pleasure,
well.
actually.
Thank you.
My pleasure. I know it's what my brother would want me to do.
Amen.
Yeah.